Welcome back to Stuff About Money podcast. I am certified financial planner Erik Garcia, and I am flying solo in this episode. Xavier and I were discussing, and we each have like these topics in the financial space that kind of like cut to our soul that we just get on our soapboxes about. So we decided that it would be best if we had these solo episodes where we have an opportunity just to kind of riff on these topics on our own. So this is what we're doing today. And in this episode, I'm going to talk about the three habits that you need to develop to have financial security. Sometimes I've talked to them about three steps to building financial security. It is kind of one, two, and three, but it doesn't necessarily have to be one, two, and three. But these are habits that you have to develop. Now, you've heard me talk about my pillars of financial security or my pillars to managing your money wisely, my six pillars. These are not specifically the six pillars. You can say that the six pillars are distilled to some degree within these three habits that you need to develop, but they are different and they are distinct. So, in the past couple of years, I've been asked to present to high school students to talk about financial literacy. And I'm given 30 minutes to try to impart some type of financial wisdom to these students that they're going to take with them the rest of their lives. And I've always struggled with, man, what is the best thing to teach them? What's um, the best advice, if you will, that I can give them? And that is partially how this presentation has come about. What are the three things that I want to impart in them? And I chose not to talk about stocks and investing. That always seems to be the sexier thing to talk about. Don't talk about bank accounts and what banking is. I think those are important things, but I've distilled into these three habits that they need to start developing. And you can kind of say they're a bit of a philosophy to building financial security. So the first thing before we hop into the three habits, I want to say a few words in opening. The first thing that's really important when we define financial security, or we talk about financial security, is to define what does it mean to be secure. That can mean different things to different people. One of the things I think that we need to define is enough. What is enough money, enough wealth to say that I feel secure? Again, this is subjective. This is going to be different from different people. It can be what's enough that I need to support my lifestyle because that makes me secure from an income standpoint. It could be what's enough to have in savings to make me feel secure in the event of an emergency. What's enough for me to have saved in retirement so that if I stop working, I have sufficient money to carry me through what we call the end of the plan, right? What's enough for me to have invested in some account that allows me to take a step back as a business owner from operating the business because I'm just burnt out and I'm tired. So it's important to define what enough is as we talk about financial security. In that conversation of enough, we're defining what security means. The second thing that I want to talk about before we talk about the three habits is these things are quite simple, okay? But they're not easy, right? Listen to what I said. They're simple, but not easy. Simple is defined as something that's easily understood, something that's plain or basic, not being made up of many parts, right? So this is simple, but it's not easy. Easy is defined as being achieved without great effort. You will have to exert some effort to achieve these habits. They do not come easily. In fact, if we think of the opposites of simple, the opposite of simple is complicated, being made up of many parts. These three things are not complicated at all. The opposite of easy is hard. These three things are hard. And here's why they're hard. Okay. Number one, it requires us to exhibit self control, it requires us to exhibit discipline. It requires us to fight against our culture, which is seemingly always fanning the flame of instant gratification in our very souls, right? I want this, I want this now. I earn this, and I want it now, right? That's why this is hard. We have to some degree become socially indifferent to what the culture is telling us what financial success is, and we need to lean in, right, to our definition of what financial security is. All right, so let's hop into our 3 habits to financial security. Number 1, spend less than you make. Sounds really obvious, right? Spend less than you make. What happens if you spend more than you make? You go into debt, right? If I make $100 and I spend $102, where's that other $2 coming from? I'm borrowing it from somewhere, my credit card, some loan, something. Now, look, I get it. In our culture, in our society, it's really hard not to borrow money. If you want to buy a car, if you want to buy a house, there's some level of debt that you're going to go into. But think about that, right? If you're borrowing money, in essence, you're spending more money than you have. So over time, you need to be spending less than you make. Debt is the antithesis to wealth, right? Debt is the total opposite of building security. So you'll be really conscious of that. So spend less than you make, right? Simple, but yet it's hard. The second thing is now that we've spent less than we've made, we want to save as much as we can. Wealth is built through savings, right? It's built through saving money. Now, we can sit here and we can discuss what's the best way to save money. Is it in a bank account? Should I invest in this retirement account, that retirement account? That's all important. Those are important things to figure out. But right now, the takeaway is just save money. Right? If I'm saving money, I'm building wealth. As I build wealth, I'm building in some financial security into my life. Okay. So we've spent less than we've made. We're saving as much as we can. And the final thing is don't do anything foolish with your money. Don't do anything foolish with your money. Now, foolish is very subjective. That's to some degree, it's a very values driven word. What I think is foolish, you might think wise. What I think is wise, you might think is foolish. Okay. So right now, you're probably maybe thinking of some things that might be foolish for you to do with your money. Those are the things that you have to try to do less of. If I do less foolish things and more wise things, less foolish decisions with my money and more wise decisions with my money, that's going to put me in a position to have a fighting chance to build financial security. So consider that. What are some foolish things with your that you can do with your money? Here's what I would suggest. I would suggest that you need to know what your values are. What is important to you? Is it your health? Is it your family? Is it travel? Is it saving into a retirement account? Once you have defined what that is to you, what your value is, what's important to you, anything that you do with your money that is inconsistent with that value is foolish. So, for example, let's say my value is to give a certain amount of money to various charities, right? It's important to me. I've said it's important to me. I've defined it as important to me. And on this side, I decide that I want to buy, I don't know, my dream car is a Ford Raptor. I don't want to buy it because it doesn't align with some other things that are more valuable to me in terms of what I have deemed important. So I don't buy it. Right? If I were to buy it, that would be foolish for me at the stage of life that I'm in because it's competing with something else that I have deemed more important to me. So you kind of see how that works, what it means to do something foolish with your money. So it does demand you to spend a little bit of time reflecting and write out what those values are, what is important to you, and then make a decision with your money in a way that supports those things that are important to you. Okay, so let's summarize real quick. Our 3 habits to build financial security. Number 1, spend less than you make. Sounds easier than it is, right? It's easy. I mean, it's simple, but it's not easy. Number 2, save as much as you can. This is where you really benefit from working with a financial advisor, a financial planner, someone who can help you determine where's the best place to save, right? Where's the most efficient place for your money to grow? Where's the most efficient place for your money to go from a tax perspective? Okay. So we're spending less than we make. We're saving as much as we can, and we're not doing anything foolish with our money. Again, this is a good place to work with a financial planner who knows how to help you define and clarify what your values are. All right, y'all. So go ahead, start working on these habits. It doesn't have to be like this like giant shift in how you interact with money. But if you start saving, or if you start making decisions on a daily basis, small decisions to spend less, small decisions to increase your savings, and start making decisions that align with your values, you are taking the steps towards building your financial security. If you want to sit down with Xavier and I and have a conversation about what this looks like, this is the work that we do. This is what fires us up. This is what charges us up. This is why I wanted to have this opportunity to have these solo episodes where we can just kind of riff on these topics that are just super meaningful to us, that we just want to get out the message to all of you, because we want you to develop a sense of financial security. We want you to do the things that are important to you, and oftentimes money can be an obstacle to that. So y'all go out there, start working at building financial security. Thank you for listening. Share this with someone who you think would benefit from it. Go out there, plan wisely, and live confidently.